Hello everyone, Tina here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today we're going to create a card with the Spellbinder, or two cards actually, using a few club kits over at Spellbinders. We're going to be using the Embossing Folder of the Month Club Kit. This month, for July 2022, is called Geometric Stripes. And this embossing folder, let me see if I can angle it so you can see it. But it has a lot of geometric shapes. But the nice thing about this embossing folder, let me show you, I already embossed a panel. But you can see the raised detail areas here, right? You have the polka dots that are raised, the zigzag here, the diamonds, and that's a beautiful pattern. But if you flip it around, you have these little square shapes that are raised, and then you have, these are debossed. These diamonds with the stripes, or triangles I should say, with the stripes are raised. So you could use the front or back of your embossing folder of the month club kit. So I thought that was pretty nice. So this is called Geometric Stripes, and we're actually going to be using this panel for our two cards today. We're going to trim it into two pieces. We're also going to be using the Spellbinders Clear Stamp and Die of the Month Club Kit. Spellbinders does have a club that just sells the stamp, but if you want coordinating dies and the stamp set, that club option is available, and both of those links are down below. But this month, anything, if you haven't guessed, anything sweet, I'm a fan of. I guess you could say I have a sweet tooth, but this month it's called Have a Chill Summer, and you get some citrus slices, you get strawberries, you get some little berries here that you could put, blueberry would be fun to stamp on top of the ice cream here, or popsicle. And then you have a lot of fun summery sentiments, and I love the sentiments in here. We are going to be using this for a card along with the coordinating die set. Now, of course, you know I like to shake things up a bit, go outside the box, and today we're going to create a chocolate ice cream. So we're not going to actually use the image in our stamp set. We'll use the popsicle stick, but I'm going to show you a different way to just use the dies for this month. So we're going to put everything aside, and we're going to do a little bit of die cutting to start off with. I have the ice cream. Let me zoom in, get in a better frame here. Now I have the ice cream, which is this part, that will die cut out this. And then I also have the popsicle stick. We're going to be using that. We are going to actually stamp our popsicle stick, and we're going to do our stamping all at once. So let me go ahead and open this up. Let's stamp our popsicle stick first, which is very easy. I'll just put this on an acrylic block, and I'm going to use my Distress Oxide inks. I have Vintage Photo and then Antique Linen. The popsicle stick is 2 layers, and it's very easy to create that popsicle stick. And I like that they have layers because it really does give it a wood grain look. So I need 3 popsicle sticks. So we'll stamp our base layer, which is the most solid, with Antique Linen. I'm going to stamp 1 for good measure, just in case I mess up. And I'll go ahead and clean off my stamp, and then we'll put this back. I'm going to grab my second layer, which is the striped one, and we're going to ink this up with Vintage Photo. And we just line it up and go over our popsicle stick here. Let me show you. And it really does create a wood grain look. So our popsicle sticks are done. Now we will eventually die cut this out, but while we are die cutting, I'll line this up. And then instead of stamping, I mentioned before, instead of stamping with our ink, I'm going to do some die cutting, and I'm going to be using some brown cardstock. This is Timber from Spellbinders. Actually, all of the cardstock that I'm going to be using today is Spellbinders Color Essential cardstock. So what we're going to do is take our ice cream piece. I'm going to die cut this out 6 times. Since we're going to make 3 popsicles, I want to sandwich 2 colors together. So I'm going to die cut out Timber 6 times with this. And then I'm going to take some fun foam. I always call this fun foam, but this is Spellbinders pop-up cutting foam sheets. Love these. And I'm going to die cut out, since we need 3 popsicles, I'm going to double up on the foam. So I'm going to die cut out 6 timber and 6 pieces of fun foam. Okay, I have 1 set done. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do 1 set, and then I'm going to make 2 more off camera just to save a little bit of time. I didn't mention this, but I did die cut out some of that pop-up foam foam sheets with the die. I just ran our popsicle stick die over our foam sheet and then die cut out that also. Now what we're going to do is create an ice cream that I like. So what we're going to start by doing is taking one of our timber layers, flip it around. I'm going to use my tape runner. Actually, you could use glue if you wanted to, but I'm going to use my tape runner, and I'm going to add adhesive to the reverse side of my, we're going to call this chocolate piece. I'm going to layer this. I'm going to offset it a little bit so you could see that white behind it. I just already think that looks like an ice cream. Oh my goodness, I love this. Now I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to add some adhesive behind it. Sometimes certain adhesives won't go over the pop-up foam adhesive. So if you wanted to use glue, you could do the same thing. Now what we're going to do is take our second piece of foam, add that right over the existing one. So we have 2 layers. I just wanted it a little bit thicker because it really looks like ice cream. Now after we have this done, I'm going to take the foam and my popsicle stick. I'm going to flip over my popsicle stick. I'm going to add adhesive behind it, and I'm going to make sure that I get adhesive on the very end here. And then I'll take my popsicle stick and I'm going to trim a little bit off. You can see how much I trim off. A little bit off the end. And then I'll take my foam and adhere that directly over my stamped stick. So that's what it looks like. You have that little edge. And I'll take it and I'll flip it around, and I'm going to take that and add that, butt it right up against my foam here, and it should just fit lovely because we took that piece out. After we have this done, I'll take my top piece. I'm going to make sure I get adhesive really well down here because this is going to help secure my popsicle stick inside my ice cream. We'll add some adhesive behind this piece, and we're going to layer this on top. I'm going to offset it just a little bit. And then we have, you can straighten this out if you need to, but we have a fun chocolate ice cream. How fun is this? Okay, now I wanted to take this one step further. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And to do that, I thought it would be fun to use a few items from my Sweet Street collection. I'm using the Party Cupcake Pocket, and also I'm going to be using the bite piece from my cookie corner. Now, if you don't have a bite piece, look for a flower that is in your stash, and I'm going to show you. Okay, now look for a flower in your stash that has round petals on here. It will work almost the same. For example, this is the Spellbinders Be Bold Blooms, and if you were to take, I would say this flower here, because it has like the curved ends, you could do the same exact thing. It would work the same. You're just going to try and, you're going to have a kind of a funny looking bite, but it will work the same. This will take a chunk out too. If you have, even if it's a full round flower, you could use those. So that's just a heads up if you don't have the cookie corner die set. But what oops, I lost the leaf there. What I'm going to do is now there's quite a few layers. I have 2 layers of cardstock, which is Spellbinders thick cardstock. So it's already thick in that sense. And then you have 2 layers of foam adhesive. But I'm going to take my cookie corner die, put it up in the corner, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. I'm going to show you what it does. Okay, I ran it through, you can see here, and it definitely didn't go through that back layer, but it did go through both layers of fun foam and the top layer. So that was really all I was really concerned about. So I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm just going to trim around it to cut it through. And then my bite mark is out, you could just toss that. But I have a bite mark in my cookie. It does smash it a little bit, but the nice thing about the pop-up foam cutting sheets is that it'll pop back into shape. So you have a little bite mark out of your ice cream, which I think is so playful and so fun. I'm going to put my bite mark back for my cookie corner, and then what we're going to use from the Party Cupcake Pocket is actually quite a few things. I want to show you a fun way to create icing. In this die set, there is, okay, I'm going to use the icing or the frosting piece from the Party Cupcake Pocket. I'm going to show you what you can do with this if you have this die set. So while I'm at it, I'm going to take the die that will cut out the ice cream base and take some white cardstock. And I'm going to die cut out both of these. I want to show you what this looks like. Okay, so let's die cut these out and I'll be right back. Okay, I have my white and I have my frosting. This is what my frosting piece. We're not going to actually use this, but I wanted to show you what it looked like when you die cut it. It has that drippy edge, and I think that would look really fun on an ice cream. So to get this die to work with this ice cream, it's very, very easy. Let me show you. I'm going to actually put this in the back with all of my extras. I have quite a few extras I've been creating with that. I'm going to put this one aside. We're not going to use this. I'm going to bring back another one that I created here. Okay? Now, we're going to take this. We're going to add it basically where we want it, and I think this is a good spot. I'm going to tape this down so it doesn't shift. And I am almost out of my best ever craft tape here. And I think that's a good spot here. You could go have as high or as low as you want, but I'm going to go kind of middle here. I'm going to tape this down. Now, if you were to run this through your die cut machine right now, it would just create 3 different pieces. 1, 2, and 3. But if we do partial die cutting, you can get a real fun edge. Let me show you. I'm going to bring in my die cut machine. Okay, now what we're going to do is take our little ice cream, put it in our die cutting machine, and to do partial die cutting, you're going to take one of your top plate, line it up just over that scalloped edge here, like so. And then you would run this through your die cut machine. Just go forward and back. And then it'll separate because you're not cutting that top piece. And you can see what you do. So you have a nice fun drip edge. You could actually use this too if you wanted to create a two-tone. You see how that works? And you could use this one, which I think is, it does crease it a little bit, but not too noticeable. But now you have a little drip edge, which is super duper fun. So that's what you can do with the Party Cupcake Pocket icing. So little tidbit if you have that die set. Now if not, you can always freehand it too if you wanted to. I'm going to put my die cut machine off to the side because we're going to do quite a bit more die cutting. Now, from the same set, I'm going to finish off my cards today. So, in our stamp set, there's strawberry and there's some citrus, but I want cherries. So, I'm going to use my cherry die. And also, this little loop-de-loop, I'll die cut that out also. There's a heart in the set that I'm going to die cut out 3 times. The cherry, of course. The leaves at the flower and the flower center, and then also the cherry stem. from my same set. I thought we'd put some cherries on a card and then some decorations. So with that being said, let's grab some cardstock and we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. And we're going to die cut out a few different leaves. This is fern and this is peridot. We're going to die cut out 2 different colors leaves. I might, not fern, I'm sorry, rainforest. I might bring in fern. I have red cardstock here that we're going to die cut out 3 hearts with. And then I'm bringing in some white cardstock to die cut out some white flowers. I'm also going to die cut out some red centers and some red cherries. And then on my cherry there's a little highlight that I didn't punch out. Let me show you. There is a little highlight. I like to die cut out 2, a white and a red, or you could do pink too. And then we'll layer both of those together. I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. We're going to take some Portobello cardstock, die cut out that stem. And I want 3 cherries, so I'll die cut out 3 and 3 and 3. And then this piece here is my little swirly. I'll die cut that out twice. So we're going to create some cherries and some flowers and some swirls and some hearts. I'll be right back after I get everything die cut. Okay, I went ahead and die cut everything out. So we have white flowers, green leaves, cherries. We have a few hearts and then a couple of the swirls, which we're going to take right now. We're going to take the swirls and I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive behind here. And then this is going to go directly on my ice cream. And I like the look of it overhanging, but of course you can trim that off. So I'm going to just leave it like so. I'll do the same thing with the other one. I'm going to add some adhesive. And we'll just go and add our little swirlies to our ice cream. How fun is this? Now after we have these ice creams for the most part are done, and these are gonna, now next I'm gonna take my last ice cream and we're gonna adhere our little vanilla drip right over the top here. Super cute. And then of course you can keep this piece for another ice cream. I'm going to go ahead and set my hearts aside and we're going to put together some flowers and some cherries. I'm going to just use my glue, add dots to my white flowers here. And then just using my craft tool, we're going to pick up those red flower centers and add those. Okay, now I put dots of glue at the base of our leaves that we just created, and then I'm going to add these directly to our flowers and we'll let these set. It's easier for me to pop up with foam adhesive when they're all together. Okay, we'll set these aside and let these dry. And then to make the cherry, again, I mentioned I die cut out one. This one actually punches out. I die cut out one with white cardstock, one with the pomegranate, and I do that because you have that detail piece, the highlight. All you do is add a little bit of glue. Then you pick up your cherry, offset it to where your detail piece is on the opposite side, and just layer them together. Since that cherry is the same exact size, and then you have the little highlight, which is really nice. I'm going to add another dot of glue at the very top. And then we can add our cherry stem here. One end's wider than the other, so I like the wider one on our cherry here. I'm going to hold it down so that glue grabs, and then I have one set of leaves that I already glued together. I'm going to add a little dot of glue, switch it up. I'm going to add it to the base of my cherry. There we go. Switching it up's nice. So they all look all don't look the same. And then those are flowers and my fruit. And of course, you can always use your strawberry and create the same effect. Now what we're going to do is create our card For my first card, I'm going to actually tack down my card base. It's pretty thick and sometimes they like to open up. My bone folder doesn't do the job. But I trimmed down my embossing folder of the month, the geometric stripes. This is slightly smaller than my card base. And then I have a piece of my pink sand cardstock. This is an A2 panel. I'm going to put this directly over my card base once this is adhered. I always associate ice cream or sweets with stripes. So I have a piece of black and white stripe paper. And also I have a 3/4 inch strip of my pomegranate cardstock. We're going to start by fishtailing the pomegranate. Once we have this fishtail, I'm going to add some adhesive behind here. I'm going to tack this down to a slightly larger strip of that striped paper. So I have some peeking out on the left and right, and then I'll fishtail this one as well. Next I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to add this to my card base. Okay, we have quite a bit of dimension to my ice cream, so I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive directly behind my ice cream cone. If you want to put an extra piece of foam adhesive behind here, you could. But I'm going to add this. And then I'm going to take my cherries and my flowers that we created. I'm going to use some small foam squares and we're going to add these to our card as well. I'm going to use my rich cocoa ink and we're going to stamp on some white cardstock. And then I'll trim this down with my paper trimmer. And I'm going to lift up this flower. We're going to place this sentiment here. And I'm using the lines on my embossed background as a guide. And then I'm going to cover this end up with one of my flowers. Okay. I think that looks super fun. And again, if you go through your stash, find some flowers, change them out here. And then also if you wanted to use the strawberries instead of the cherries, I think that's super adorable. Now, of course, we got to doctor up our little ice cream. So to do that, I'm going to bring in my glazing glue. I'm going to go over just the white area with my glazing glue. And if you have any air bubbles, just take the nozzle of your glazing glue. And of course, this takes a little bit of time to dry. You may want to tap it a few times. But you see how shiny that is? And since it's shiny, I'm going to go ahead and take my sparkle cuts here. I had a little spoon someone want to use. I have a little spoon I'm going to use. We're going to spoon out a little sparkle over the white area of our ice cream. And I'm going to tap this excess off carefully. I'm going to take some gems. I'm going to take some red gems. I'm going to use my Spellbinders Color Essential red gems. I'm going to take the largest ones. They'll fit perfectly in my flower centers. I don't even think I needed to die cut out that red circle because this is just going to cover it. I finished putting my red essential gems. You can see the sparkle in that ice cream. If you tilt it, it really does look like ice cream here. And then you can see the sparkle in that card. And that will finish off my first card. The second card, we are going to do a little bit of layering. We'll put this aside. It's going to take a little bit of time to dry. Okay, for my second card, I have our ice creams all good to go. We're going to use the one with the bite mark out of here. And then we have some colored cardstock. I'm going to do a little bit of layering. So I have a piece of the pomegranate cardstock that is a little bit, just slightly less than 3 inches wide, but it's 5.5 inches tall. I'm going to take this and add this to my card base. And this is going to go all the way to the right. Once this is adhered, I did trim the bottom of my embossed panel. And then my embossed panel size was 5.5 inches wide. So this is going to go actually the length of my card base. Now I have my pink sand cardstock. We're going to start by flipping over our embossed panel here. I'm going to add adhesive behind it, and then we're going to add some black and white diagonal stripes to the left of it, just so about 1/8 of an inch is showing. And then I'm going to position this where I want it on my card, and I'm going to tuck my pink sand underneath here. And I think that's a good spot for it. I think that looks good. After we have our stripe paper and our pink sand, I have this piece of timber cardstock, and I wanted a little extra brown. I'm going to trim this down. And I'm just going to use my scissors here. I wanted a little bit of brown on that corner, like so. And then we can flip this over, add adhesive. I said I was going to pop it up, but I changed my mind because our ice creams are pretty dimensional. This is going to go layered on my card base here. I do want to stamp my sentiment. So let's take that same brown ink. I'm going to stamp "Today is a good day to be happy." And I'm going to put this, I'm hoping it'll fit right here in the corner. Yes. I'm going to put "Today is a great day to be happy." Oops. Now we're going to doctor up this card using our glazing glue. Just going to add some over the top. Just the hearts. Oh. Well, that came out really fast. So we'll go over our hearts with the glazing glue. And then I'm going to take my Journey Sparkle Cuts. It's that iridescent glitter we used earlier. And I'll grab my little spoon and we'll tap some glitter. Not too much. And then that will finish this card. And so these are the two projects using the Spellbinders Embossing Folder of the Month Club Kit called Geometric Stripes and the Spellbinders Clear Stamp of the Month Club Kit. It's the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month Club Kit, and it is called Have a Chill Summer. Some fun summer cards, kind of mixing it up a little bit, but have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me. We will see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.